Welcome back, class. We're here to do the second part of preparing the paper for the drawing we're going to be working on. So I'm going to I have a piece of graphite, a graphite stick. So if you've got one of those in your set, that can work really well. But you can also use a pencil. This is a 6B pencil, soft lead. Soft lead is good. This is a 2B graphite stick. It's not as soft, but I'm going to use it because it says graphite stick. But if you have just a pencil, you're going to go like this, and you're going to make a medium value all over your paper. Okay, notice how I'm going in one direction, and I'm going for that medium value that's on your value scale. And if you need to pull out your value scale, then go ahead and do that. So I'm just covering that. I'm going to continue. You notice with the graphite stick, it's pretty quick. So, you still want to maybe go in the same direction. Or if you can make it so there's no lines, that's good too. We are going to blend this afterwards. So I'm just going to cover this. Notice that when I use the side of my graphite stick, it's not really making marks. Another thing to notice is that I have a pad of paper underneath what I'm using because that softens it. And it makes for less marks. Now, one thing I'm noticing that in my last preparation, I was preparing my photo on the paper with a ballpoint pen, and my paper did get embossed a little bit. I don't know if you can't really see that, but it got scratched. So that's going to be showing up in my drawing. So if that happens and you really don't want to see that scratch in your drawing, it's best to remeasure your paper. Okay, so I've filled this all up. And I'm just going to try to make it an even tone now, mid-value. Going over, just trying to take care of all the areas. Again, if this is what you're using, use the side of your pencil and just go over the whole thing. And you can use both. I'm just touching up with a few areas because this pencil is softer lead. So it's going to be a little easier to work with. It'll give me a few more darks. Okay, so once I get that fairly soft, this is a little dark in here. So maybe I want to just darken up a few areas. Then I'm going to take a piece of paper towel and I'm going to go over the whole thing just in small circles. And again, you should be able to see your grid after you do this, although we will be erasing the grid. And the same thing with the grid. If you found that you used too much strength with the pressure on your pencil when you were building this, then your grid lines will be embossed in the paper, and that could be problematic. Okay, so if you don't like those grid lines and you can see that they're already embossed in your paper, then you can change that. Okay. All right. I'm going to pause for a second. Okay, time to go out. Go out. Okay, so here we have the piece. It's a little uneven, so if you find that it's too uneven, you can go back and work it in. You can try to even it out by doing some circles. But generally, this is going to be good to start. Okay, so now I want to be working on my drawing. I'm going to start at the top. And you see, I'm going to be starting with this. So the great thing about using a grid, and you'll notice in the recordings that I shared with you, the YouTube recordings, they show you how to use a grid, but I'm going to just kind of go over this basically a real simple way because I want to show you the subtractive process. So you're going to plot the outlines of your portrait in the same place on your grid that you've prepared. So for example, as I'm preparing this, I see that it comes a little above halfway, so I'm going to start there. This comes in about a third of the way on this rectangle, so I'll make a mark there. This comes in about in the same place, maybe a little bit. And then this line comes in here about a third this way. The bottom of the chin is about halfway up here. I'll make a mark there. And if I go here, it's about a third, right about here, about half. So that's going to give you some good dimensions on how to put your portrait in. So I'm just going to roughly sketch in what I see. Maybe coming out, let's see, right in here, there was a little bit of, look at this angle, it kind of goes out a little bit and then comes in. So maybe a little more like that. And this is angled like this. It's hard to see the lines, but I'm really just sketching this in to get a sense of how big his head is going to be and where everything's going to fit. And so that's going to take a while to sketch that all in. His jaw is going to come over here, going to cross right here. Okay. I'm just getting a sense of how this all fits together. Ear is going to be, let's see, a little less than halfway. Less than halfway, so right in here. It doesn't have to be the perfect shape right at this moment because I'm just getting the placement. Okay, and then eyes are at an angle. So come down to the second. The really great thing about using a grid is it really gives you an idea of what the proportion is. You know, you feel like maybe you don't have to make things so big, but in reality, you do. So I know his eyes are going to be angled up. So I can do some little guidelines, some horizontal and vertical location lines if I need to. Kind of sketching things in. So I'm just working on this. Now what I can do as I'm doing this is I can get it all laid out. So it's all laid out now pretty much. And there are going to be some things I want to change. And as with any kind of drawing, you're doing a general sketch first, and then you're going into things that are more specific. So I've gotten that in. So now what I can do, the whole process of this project is using your eraser to erase the lights. So wherever you see the lights, you're going to be erasing. And this is a stick eraser that I'm using. And if you have more darks, like for example, I feel like this isn't quite right here, so maybe I'm going to move this eye over a little more. I'm going to add darks wherever you need it. And wherever you need lights, I'm going to erase away. Okay, so you're just kind of building up. The nice thing about this process is you have all of the medium grays taken care of. And your whole paper is covered. Now, don't forget, you're going to be working on the whole thing. So some of the examples that I showed you, they hadn't completed the drawing, so the clothing wasn't complete yet. So just keep in mind that that's what you're going to be doing. Okay, so that's the process, and you're going to develop your observation skills.